The Pathways to Work Evidence Clearinghouse logo transitions in with the title Behind the Scenes: How the Pathways Clearinghouse Evidence Review Works. A series of 6 clipboard icons pop on the screen with a green check mark added to 3 of them.
You want to easily identify evidence-based programs and strategies to help the job seekers you serve find and maintain gainful employment.
An icon representing a document labeled Job pops on the screen with 6 circles containing people icons on either side of the icon. Dotted lines connect the document icon to each person.
The Pathways to Work Evidence Clearinghouse is here to help.
The Pathways website URL is shown: pathwaystowork.acf.hhs.gov.
The Pathways Clearinghouse is an easy-to-use, comprehensive resource backed by rigorous evidence that identifies what works to improve labor market outcomes for people with low incomes.
The Pathways to Work homepage is shown with a banner image of a woman working in an industrial setting.
But what do we mean by rigorous evidence? And what's the process for identifying and assessing the effectiveness of the interventions contained in the Pathways Clearinghouse? The Pathways Clearinghouse defines rigorous evidence as research that accurately and reliably measures the impact of employment-focused interventions. An intervention is a program designed to improve the labor market outcomes of participants by increasing their employment, earnings, or education, or decreasing their receipt of public benefits.
An icon of a cogwheel rotates slowly as a row of 4 icons transitions in at the bottom. The icons are a document titled Job, representing employment, an icon of an upraised hand with a $sign representing earnings, an icon of a diploma representing education, and an icon of an EBT card representing public benefits. The first 3 icons also have a green up arrow, and the last icon for benefits has a green down arrow.
But how do we identify and rate the effectiveness of interventions? First, we identify studies about interventions that meet our inclusion criteria. By conducting a thorough search for these studies, we're able to determine the extent of the existing evidence. We then examine the way each study was conducted and assign a study quality rating of high, moderate, or low, based on objective criteria indicating the extent to which the study's findings are reliable.
Each quality rating is listed. High quality has 3 yellow stars next to it, moderate quality has 2 yellow stars, and low quality has 1 yellow star. An icon of a document with a magnifying glass is at left.
If a study's quality is rated as high, it means that it meets criteria indicating that the findings are an accurate measure of the impact of the intervention. A moderate rating means that we can be somewhat confident in the findings, but that other factors the study design didn't account for may also have contributed to the findings. If a study is rated low, it means the findings may be due to other factors besides the intervention. Because the focus of the Pathways Clearinghouse is to provide insights about interventions, we next group studies of the same intervention together. This is easy when 2 studies test interventions with the exact same name and services, but sometimes, like with this fictional intervention, names change over time or from one community to another.
Text for a fictitious intervention name of Learning to Work transitions in to the top of the screen and also at the bottom of the screen. A line drawing of a house in a rural scene draws in between the names. At left are 2 icons of documents with a cogwheel within each. The intervention name at the bottom changes to Learning to Work, with the number 2 replacing the word to. The scene then transitions to a line drawing of urban buildings with the intervention at the bottom being titled Learning to Work in the City.
In these cases, we look to see if the interventions are providing the same set of services and group the studies on these interventions together. The Pathways Clearinghouse then rates the effectiveness of the interventions based on how strongly the evidence indicates that the intervention will improve each type of labor market outcome, if implemented again in a similar context.
The icons for each rating are shown at left and will be described in the coming scenes.
For example, the Pathways Clearinghouse can show you how well an intervention is likely to help a job seeker achieve employment, but it can also help you understand how well an intervention is likely to improve earnings, receipt of public benefits, or educational attainment. So, what do the effectiveness ratings mean? Let's go through the 6 ratings. Well-supported means there's strong and consistent evidence that the intervention produces favorable results for a specific outcome domain, such as short-term earnings. This means that if you use the same type of intervention with a similar population, you're likely to have a similar result.
The well-supported icon is a green circle with a white star in the middle. Below the icon and text for well-supported is a cogwheel icon with a dashed line moving out to 2 icons of a group of people and then to 2 icons representing earnings.
Supported means we have some evidence that the intervention improves a given outcome.
The supported icon is a light green circle bordered in darker green with a gray up arrow in the middle. Below the text for supported is the cogwheel icon and a dashed line moving across the icon representing earnings, which includes a green up arrow representing a favorable impact on earnings.
Not supported means we have strong and consistent evidence that the intervention is unlikely to produce favorable results in a given outcome domain.
The not supported icon is a light red circle bordered in darker red with a gray X in the middle. Below the text for not supported is the cogwheel icon and a dashed line moving across the earnings icon with a red down arrow representing an unfavorable impact on earnings, and another dashed line going up to a large red X representing no impact on earnings.
Mixed support means we have some evidence from studies of moderate or high quality that indicates the intervention improves outcomes in a given outcome domain, and some evidence that indicates it worsens outcomes in that domain. For instance, in the educational outcome domain, an intervention might have unfavorable effects on attainment of a high school diploma, but favorable effects on GED attainment.
The mixed support icon is a yellow circle with an orange border. The circle is divided into an upper half in bright yellow and the lower half in light yellow. Below the mixed support text is the cogwheel icon with a dashed line going to an education icon with a green up arrow and another dashed line going up to an education icon with a red down arrow.
Insufficient evidence to assess support means we have some evidence from impact studies of moderate or high quality on the intervention's effect in a given outcome domain, but not a sufficient body of evidence to assign one of the other ratings.
The insufficient evidence icon is a circle divided into a left side in gray and the right side in white and bordered in gray. Below the text for insufficient evidence is the cogwheel icon and a dashed line moving to a magnifying glass with a red question mark and then to the earnings icon.
Lastly, no evidence to assess support means we did not find any studies that rated moderate or high that studied the intervention's effect on outcomes in a given outcome domain. These interventions need further study to support conclusions about their effectiveness.
The no evidence icon is a white circle with a gray border. Below the text for no evidence is the cogwheel icon and a dashed line moving across to a magnifying glass with a red X and then to the earnings icon.
To learn more about the rigorous standards for the Pathways Clearinghouse, please visit pathwaystowork.acf.hhs.gov.